Hello and welcome to the CrossPlans year-end data collection training video. Today we are going to discuss the year-end data collection process on our client portal website. In early January, you will receive an email from CrossPlans with a link to our client portal requesting that you complete the year-end data collection task online. Today, I have created a test plan called ABC Company 401k, and I will walk you through an example of how to complete the data collection task on our website. So to access the client portal, you can either click the link from the email that you will receive in January from CrossPlans, or you can simply go to www.crossplans.com. From the CrossPlans website, you will click Client Login in the top right-hand corner. That will take you to the Plan Sponsor Link site. If you've logged in before, your username is your email address, and then you'll enter your password. If you're a first-time user, you will click this link and follow the instructions. If you forgot your password, go ahead and click the link here to follow those steps. If you do have any trouble accessing the website, please reach out to your plan administrator at CrossPlans for additional assistance. So we'll go ahead and sign in. When you sign in, it will take you directly to the My Active Tasks section, and you'll see your company name and the year-end data collection task for 2017. So we will click Begin Task to go to step 1. There are 9 steps that you'll need to complete, and you can jump around, you can save one and go back to another. Throughout the process, you can start it, save it. If you need to come back to it later, you can do that as well. You don't need to complete it all in one sitting. So the majority of the steps here are just verifying that the information that we have on your company and on your plan is correct. So step 1 is verifying your company contact information. We are looking to verify that we have your correct address as well as phone numbers. Throughout each step, if you do need to make any edits, the edit icon is the pen and paper here, where you can make changes. If you need to add an address, let's say we have your physical address, but we don't have your mailing address, you can click the green arrow here, or the green plus sign, and that will allow you to enter in the address, and then you'll need to select an address type as mailing address to get that added to the screen here. There also is a notes icon on each step. So let's say you need to let us know something that is a little bit more complicated or longer than what can be included in the preset fields. You can always click on notes, click on the green plus sign and type in a note, and that information will go directly to your plan administrator when you submit the data. So we will go ahead and confirm everything. Everything looks good here, and click Save. On step 2, we have the company data. So we're verifying that the employer data that CrossPlans has on your company is correct. So verify the tax ID, the fiscal year, the entity type, and the payroll frequency. Those are the required fields. If you do have a payroll provider, we do like to know that information, so you can put that in. So I will go ahead and put in a payroll provider and click Save. That will take us to step 3. We are looking for the principals, any owners or officers of the firm. This is information that we do collect when we set up your plan. So really you'll just be verifying it unless there's been an ownership change throughout the year. So verifying that the owners' names are correct, their titles, whether or not they're officers should be yes or no listed here, and then their ownership percentages. If the ownership percentage has changed, you can edit it here. Or let's say Jane Doe is no longer an owner, you can delete Jane and you can always add a new owner by clicking on that green plus sign. So let's say nothing has changed, the owners are still the same. We'll click Save to go to step 4. On step 4, we have the family relationship. So we're looking for any family members of the principals listed in step 3 that are employed at the firm. So in the case of this company, Joan Doe is a child of John Doe and is employed by ABC Company. So we've listed Joan's information here. Step 5 is any other businesses owned. So we're looking for a complete list of other businesses that are owned, as well as the owners of those businesses. A lot of times this won't apply, but let's say you do have an ownership stake in another business. We do need to know that information. It may come into play with eligibility and how we design the plan. But if there are no other businesses, it's fine to leave it blank and click Save to go to Step 6. On Step 6, we are verifying the contact information for the contacts that we have listed in our system for your plan. So typically you'll see the name, all the contact information, the individual's role listed here. This step is unique in that you actually can't make live edits to it. So let's say, for example, James Doe is no longer your broker or financial advisor on the plan. You actually can't delete James. What you would do is click on the icon here and click on the plus sign and let us know the issue. So let us know James Doe is no longer the advisor and submit that. And we here at CrossPlans will make that update in our system internally. The other thing to note here is the roles for the individuals employed by ABC Company may not match up exactly to what Jane Doe's title is, for example, at ABC Company, but we classify the roles in terms of what role does that person play on the plan. So don't worry if, for example, Jane's title is actually vice president, but we have her listed as the HR and operational contact. That's just how we interact with Jane for the plan. So once you've gone through and verified that all this information is correct, submitted any issues if there are any, then you can click Save. That will take you to Step 7. So the next 3 steps are the steps where you're actually going to be inputting information on the plan rather than just verifying the data that we have. So this takes us to the annual employer questionnaire. What we'll do is we'll go through these questions. We're just gathering information on your company and on the plan that help us with the compliance testing and 5500 filing that we're doing on your plan each year. So question 1, did you deposit employee 401k deferrals and loan payments within 7 days of each pay period? And we're looking for yes or no as the answer. And that's just to verify that the contributions were made in a timely manner. Question 2, were all participant loan payments submitted according to their amortization schedule? You can answer yes or no, or not applicable if your plan does not offer loans or if there are no active loans on your plan right now. Question 3, you can see, is not required. It does not have a red asterisk here, but the question is, do you believe that any loans will need to be defaulted? And that would be as a result of a lack of payment or employee termination. If that's the case, if an employee has left, just go ahead and put their name in here and we'll work with you on defaulting and getting the loan off the books of the plan. Question 4, please indicate the final payroll date for the 2017 year. And then question 5, what date were deferrals and loan payments from that final payroll submitted to the vendor? This is helpful to know. A lot of times the final payroll date is December 30th or 31st, but you don't actually submit the deferrals to the vendor until after the 1st of the year. That's fine. It's just helpful to know when they were submitted so we can pull those reports from the vendor. Question 6, what percentage of your employees are provided through a leasing company or contracted workers? And you can enter 0 if that does not apply. Question 7, did your company have any large layoffs? So we're looking for anything with greater than 20% of your staff. That would be a yes or no answer. Question 8, do you anticipate requesting an extension of time for the filing the company's income tax return for the 2017 year? Again, that's yes or no. And that's helpful to know. If you are filing an extension, that's fine. We may also just want to file an extension for your 5500 tax reporting as well. Question number 9, does the employer maintain any other qualified plans that are self-administered or administered by another third-party administrator. So again, that's a yes or no question. Question 11, is the employer part of a controlled group or an affiliated service group? Yes or no there. Typically, you'll definitely know if your company is part of a controlled group or affiliated service group. Maybe there's another business that your company owns, or you're part of a corporation that has several other entities. Typically, if you're inputting other businesses in the previous step, you'll know whether or not those businesses are part of a controlled group or affiliated service group. However, if you do have questions, you can always reach out to your plan administrator, or even your tax advisor will be able to help you with that determination. Question 12, have you submitted or have you confirmed that copies of all statements from the plan are being sent to CrossPlans? And that's yes or no. For this, if your plan is held at a major vendor like John Hancock or Empower or American Funds, we are getting those statements automatically. This is really if your plan is a smaller, maybe plan that's held in brokerage accounts or something like that. We want to make sure we're getting copies of those statements. So if we're not, then you can actually upload the copies here. Question 14, do you want CrossPlans to calculate a profit sharing or other employer contribution for the plan? So this is a yes or no question as well. If you do answer yes, you're not tied to making the profit sharing contribution. We'll just do the calculation, and then it's up to you and your tax advisor and business planners whether or not you choose to make the contribution. Question 15 is not required, but we do ask that if you do have a desired total dollar amount for that profit sharing contribution, that you let us know. If you want to get the maximum amount you can into the plan, go ahead and put maximum in here. You can enter 0 if you entered no to question 14, if you don't want to make any kind of profit sharing contribution. All right, so once you've answered those questions, it'll take you to step 8, which is the 5500 questionnaire. A few quick questions here about the plan. Question number 1, is the plan covered by a fidelity bond? And that would be yes, no, or unsure for the answer. If your plan covers any common law employees, so basically any plan that covers more than just an owner-only type of plan or an owner and their spouse, then you are required to purchase a fidelity bond for your plan. So we do want to know what the bond amount is in step 2, or you can even upload a copy of the bond, which is great. We like to have a copy in your plan's file at all times. If you don't have a bond and you do need to purchase one, in step 3 here, you can actually obtain one through Colonial Surety, and we have a link to their website. Or you can contact your E&O provider to get a quote and to purchase a bond. The important thing is that if you are required to have a bond, you do purchase one, and then you do send us a copy, so we have it on file for your plan. Question 4, did the plan at any time hold assets other than with a registered investment provider? The answer there is either yes or no. And for that, really what we're looking for is any assets that are not a typical investment. So let's say if there was real estate held by the plan or fine art, you'd answer yes. This is very rare. Most likely you'll be answering no. But if there was a unique situation where you held any type of non-typical financial asset, you'll want to put that in question 5 here to let us know what type of asset was held. So once you've completed the questionnaire, that takes you to the last step, which is the employee census. So this is really where you'll be inputting the bulk of the information on your company. If you've been with us in prior years, we will have your previous employee census data already loaded into the system here, and all you'll need to do is update the 2017 hours and compensation. So you can do this one of 2 ways. You can actually add and make the edits right here on the website. You can add by clicking the green plus sign. all of the fields that are required are marked with the red asterisks, or you can make the edits right here for any existing employees and list their information. However, if you have more than just a handful of employees, I would definitely recommend utilizing the import and export feature. So what you can do is you can actually export this information into Excel by clicking on the icon with the downward arrow and opening up the information in Excel. It's important to note the first tab is instructions and the description of the fields. Make sure you select the Employees tab to see the data that's been exported. So you can see it's included all of the employee information that were employed in the previous year. And I'll go ahead and identify the required fields that we absolutely need you to complete for each of your employees in order to have a full, complete census. So of course, we'll need all the identifying information, the last name, first name, social. We'll need date of birth and the original hire date. If anyone has terminated in 2017, we'll need their date of separation as well. If there's been any rehires, we'll want to know their rehire date. And then the primary fields that you'll be updating are the total hours that each employee worked in 2017, their total gross compensation, and pre-tax and Roth salary deferrals, if there were any. So if your plan does not offer Roth, of course, that won't apply, and you can leave that column blank. Same thing goes for safe harbor. Let's say your plan does not offer safe harbor, or if it does offer safe harbor, you're not making those safe harbor contributions each pay period, then you would leave this section blank. With employer match, you would also leave the employer match column blank unless you're making the matching contributions each pay period. The job classification column, that really is just more for your benefit. We don't need that completed, but if you classify your employees and it's easier to sort it that way, go ahead and fill that in. So to clarify exactly what we're looking for on hours and compensation, for the hours, we really need the total hours that each employee has worked in the 2017 year. I know a lot of times most of your employees may be salaried and you may not be tracking their hours. That's fine. What we really need to know is what category does each employee fall into? Did they work 1,000 hours or more? In that case, they'd be considered full-time employees in the plan. Did they work 999 hours or less? We want to know that so we can track those employees for eligibility in the plan. Or did they work 499 hours or less? And that's important because those employees could potentially be excluded from some compliance testing. So you can feel free to, if you have salaried employees and you're not tracking their hours, just come up with a general estimate based on a 40-hour work week and 52 weeks in the year and input that there. You'll just want to make sure it's at least 1,000 hours so they're being registered as full-time employees. For compensation, we are looking for the total gross compensation for 2017. That can typically be found in box 5 on an employee's W-2. An important exception to that to note is if your company offers a health savings account or 125 plan, then you'll want to add those contributions from the HSA to the compensation in box 5 to actually get the total gross compensation for this column. Other than that, you can also request a year-end payroll report, and that can be provided from your payroll provider, and that should have the hours, the total compensation, as well as any deferrals that were made. And that's nice because it's all in one report for you to include this information. If you are a sole proprietor or an owner, your compensation is typically recorded on Schedule C income or K1. And if you're using W-2 data to get the total gross compensation, you can also look at box 12 of the W-2, and that will have the deferral contributions for each employee. The IRS code for pre-tax salary deferrals is the letter D, and for Roth deferrals, the letter is AA, and that's how you can tell whether it was pre-tax or Roth. So once you've made your updates to the existing employees, and then of course added any new employees that were hired in 2017, then you can go ahead and save the census that you've created and go back to the website here and actually click on the upward facing arrow to import the information. So you'll click there, click choose file, select the census file that you created, and click import. So that will import. It will let you know that it's imported successfully, and you can click continue. And all of the information is now loaded here on the website. So once that's done, you can save this step. And you may get a notice that there's some warnings. What you can do is you can actually click here to view any issues. Typically, it's that employees don't have deferrals or something like that. That's not going to prevent you from moving on and saving it, but you just want to make sure that the information is accurate before you save it. So that will take you to step 10, which is the last step of the process here. So once you've completed all the steps and you have green check marks going all the way down, then you will be ready to sign and submit the data on the website here. When you sign it, it's going to ask you to verify your identity just by entering your name and contact information. That way we know who to reach out to if we have any questions on the data that's been submitted. So once you've submitted the census and all the data collection, then you're all set. The information will go to your plan administrator at CrossPlans to review. They'll reach out to you if you have any questions. So in closing, I hope that you have found this training helpful. Thank you so much for taking the time to view this training video, and thank you in advance for completing your year-end data collection for your plan. In the future, feel free to reach out to your administrator at CrossPlans if you have any additional questions. Thank you.